What's up, everybody? This your man ZB coming at you with another How I Make Beats in Machine. Today, we're going to be talking about mixing. Let's go. Let's dive in.
Can you turn that down, please?
All right, first and foremost, the very first thing I like to do before I start mixing is place this plug-in on my tracks called MVMeter. What an MVMeter is, it's a VU meter that shows me how loud my sound is hitting. No effects on, it's just exactly how loud my sound is. Now, here's a key. If you see so the meter reads from like -20 all the way to 0, maybe a little past 0. You want your sounds to be hitting like right around 0. I normally hit it around 0.2 or somewhere close to 0. What that does is it just ensures that when I get to compressing my sound and putting all type of features on it, I'm not distorting my sound because it's not going past 0 already. You understand what I mean? If the sound is going past 0, which means that if I put any compression on it to squash that sound down and then turn the makeup gain up, it's already gonna be distorting because I already got it past 0. So what I have to do is get it right to 0. So let's just dive in. I'll show you how to do it from the screen. One thing I love about the Maschine Studio is from the hardware, you are able to manipulate the volume and the pan right from the machine. The way that I achieve this is if you hit the mix on the machine, it takes you to the faders of all your sounds in each group. In my drum sounds right now you're looking at all my individual sounds. That's what you're looking at right now. But if I hit back, it shows me all of my groups. So with me, I like linear DAWs. If you've ever seen Logic, Cubases, or anything like that, each track that you put in is one individual sound. It's not a group of sounds like Maschine does. Each group contains 16 pads, which internally means you have 16 instruments or effects or whatever that you want to do. So essentially your group can be a bus, a subgroup. It can be many things. So what I like to do is take each group and put one instrument in there. All of my drums go within one group. So all of my drums I can control from one group. That's how I like to do it. So we looking at my groups right now. So as I said, if I get out of mix, I'm looking at my group for the drums. I'm looking at my drum groups. If I hit sound, I'm looking at the individual sound of whichever one that's highlighted. So like right now I'm looking at the kick, the 808, snare, clap, all that individually in my group. So essentially what I like to do is I would like to place that VU meter after my sound. So how I do this on the machine is, you see where it says sampler and it has this arrow with the lit up soft key up here? If I hit that, it brings me to the plus, which means that I can add a sound. And there are many different ways that I can add a sound or affect my individual group or my individual sound. I can hit browse and I'm in my users tab. If I get out of my users tab and then go to effects, I can put in individual effects that I want from here. And it's from all different categories. So that's one way of putting them in. I could also hit the jog wheel and that brings in my default effects internally in Maschine. Then I have all my native instruments effects that I bought with my came with my complete Ultimate 11, I believe, or Ultimate 10, one of the two. I just got a bunch of different plugins that I use. So as I stated, I'm going to go ahead and put that. This is on my individual sounds. This is not on my groups. Now, for me explaining, on my machine screen, as you can see, I'm looking at my groups. I'm actually in the ideas mode. If I want to, well, I'm not even going to talk about the ideas mode and stuff like that yet. I want to get to my mixer inside the machine. So how I would do that, I can do that from the machine itself. If I hold shift and I press navigate, that brings me to my mixer on the software. And as again, I can hit mix, that brings me to my mix window on my machine. I'm inside my groups. I'm gonna go outside my groups. Well, I need to go back in my groups. All right, so if I hit this plugin button, it shows me the plugins that I have in here. And the other thing I like to have open is my auxes. We'll get to that in a sec. But the reason why I have this on all of my sounds, if I hit this, right, I'm going to play the track, and it's going to show you where that sound is hitting it. See, already the sound is already distorting if you can hear it. I'm hitting positive 6.4 dB. So how I would bring that down is, in order to cancel this out, I would just do a negative 6.4. That brings me to 0. But sometimes the level doesn't always hit 0. As you can see, my left side is hitting 6.4, my right side is hitting 5.3. So what I'll do is, if I'll do my math, I'll zero it out. So I'll put negative 6.4, but I want to hit negative 0.2. That's where I want to hit. So what I'll do is I'll do a negative 6.6. And how I do that is right here at this knob, I'll double click here. I'll put negative 6.6. And then here it said 5.3. So I'll do negative 5.5. Now, once I hit it again, it should be hitting at negative 0. I mean negative 0.2. Here we go. There we go. I'm going to do that for all of my sounds. This plugin, by the way, is free. I'll put the link in the description where you can go ahead and download it for free, Windows and Mac. I'm going to go ahead and do that to the rest of my sounds now. All right, so now all of my sounds are leveled. Let's go in and do the drums the same way. Now here's a prime example of another reason why I put this on here. Some of my sounds doesn't even hit close to 0. So instead of turning it up, as you can see, my clap is already sitting at 0.0 on the fader, which is unity gain. But I want that sound to come up some more, so I can actually, this is pretty essentially like a gain plugin where I can turn up or turn down my sound. So this clap is hitting at 6.7, negative 6.7. So to zero that out, I would do 6.5. To zero that out, I would do 6.5. But what I'm going to do is, like I say, I want it to hit negative 0.2, 0.02. So what I'll do is I'll do 6.3. That's a positive, and this hitting at 6.8, so I'll do 6.6. Now watch. So now my clap is hitting where it needs to be. It's a little louder now. It just gives me a little bit more overall control of my sounds. I'm gonna continue on. Now all of my sounds are level. So now what I'm going to do a process called gain staging. All gain staging is getting the sounds at a level to where it's cohesive. As I'm in the mix, I'll go back. I turn every one of my instrument sounds down. Turn all my instrument sounds down. I leave my drums at 0 because what I do is I go to my drums, hit enter. I turn each one of my drum sounds all the way down. And then I'll start mixing from there. All right, there we go. I think that's all the sounds I got in there. I don't even have that one playing. Now, everything, as you can see, the song is going, but nothing is coming out because I want to get everything to hit where I need it to hit. With that being said, I want everything, my overall sound, to at least hit at like -12 or -10. The reason being is because after I add my effects and everything, I want to reach -12. So once I put vocals on there, we can have those vocals added to the track and make it reach a -6 or maybe -3 or something like that. Give the mastering engineer enough space to add his effects and his or her plugins on there, and it's not competing for sound. She or he doesn't have to go in and turn down sounds. So the thing that I want the loudest in the mix is my clap, because my clap, that's like my driving force to keep your head, to get the tempo together. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. So I'm gonna turn it up. Now I got my sounds hitting exactly where I want them to be. As you can see, for the master channel, I was only hitting it -2.2. And that's overall. I can go through and I can bring down everything. As a matter of fact, I think that's what I am going to do. So if I hold shift and click them all, I can start turning these down, and I have the mix right correctly. I have the mix correct right now. So by me holding shift on the machine, in the machine software, and clicking on all the tracks, I can bring down one fader and it'll bring down collectively as I already have my mix together. So essentially the shift and the clicking of the what's name acts as a subgroup in a sense. So I'll start turning them down. All right, so I'm hitting that -10, which is a good sign. Don't worry about the sound being too low, because what we always do, I'll add a limiter at the end of the mixing process and everything, or at the end of my mixing process, because right now I just pretty much showed you guys leveling. I haven't really did any mixing or anything, but you'll have an overall sound or overall level. Okay, why ain't he doing it? Okay, there we go. I'm gonna put a limiter on here, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Where is my limiter? Oh, here we go. A limiter is nothing but a compressor, but it's a brick wall compressor. And what I mean by that is I'm completely squashing the sound. What the compressor does, it brings all that close together. But with the limiter, I'm limiting how high or how loud I want it to be. Not how loud, how high I want my sound to hit. So once I put my threshold, I'll pull my threshold down, and then it'll start squashing. And what my ceiling is I'm telling the sound, I don't want you to go nowhere past -1 dB. So I'm gonna put my ceiling at -1 dB. I'm gonna start bringing down my threshold and watch how louder the sound gets. Now remember, I was already hitting. As a matter of fact, if I hold shift and I hit over here on this side, you see where it says move, bypass, and remove. I can bypass this plugin. That way you won't hear its effect until I turn it on. Right now I'm hitting at -10 dB. So if I'm hitting at -10, I put my threshold at -10.2. Any sound that's going past 10.2 is getting compressed. So it's pushing it down. So for every 10 dB that I'm going past the threshold, it's only going up, I believe, 1 dB. So that's why it's 10-to-1 ratio. So I'm gonna bring it down some more. I'm not gonna bring it down some more. I'm gonna bypass it so you can hear what it sounds like. So first it's gonna be off, then I'm gonna turn it on. So that's why I'm not even worried about how it sounds. I mean, the mixing is gonna be great, but my sound is gonna be good, all because of the limiter. This is part 1 of mixing in the machine, on the machine. This is my process and how I get it done. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs up. And be sure to go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell down here so you can know when I'm bringing in my next video. Until then, I'm out.